Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Hamza Chowdhury. It's June 16th. It's hump day. It's Wednesday, guys. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. We've had a lot of momentum in the stock market this past week, and I just wanted to get on with you today and just talk about some of the movements that I've been seeing and some of the trades that I've been taking. With that said, guys, as always, I ask you to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. On this channel, we typically follow a handful of stocks and we just talk about trading in general and sort of how the thesis plays out with some of these stocks that we call. I've been sort of a little inconsistent with the videos, and I apologize for the last couple of weeks. I've been moving and transitioning, and I'm slowly kind of getting settled in. And so I hope to kind of get in a better routine here shortly. And as always, guys, post a question, post a comment. I do respond to everything on this channel. So as always, guys, do post anything that you want to know. And I appreciate you guys as always. So let's just jump right into it. Aapl was a great move. We've had a solid move, guys. You know, we talked about this back here, about this idea that the 50-day was sort of curving around. We topped at 135. We sort of loaded down here on Aapl off the 200-day. I mentioned to you guys in my last video that I loaded up on calls on this 200-day and I pushed into strength. I usually typically swing calls if I have to. I don't hold on to them more than a few days. And so we've gotten a massive move here from 123 all the way up to 130. Now, what was I looking for today on Aapl specifically is clearly there's this, it's been given an issue here around 131. And what I was waiting for was, Powell was to talk today around 11 o'clock Pacific time. And so what I did around this time here, it was around 10:30, is I actually started to buy some Aapl puts. Now, where did I buy Aapl puts? I bought Aapl puts that expire Friday, and so they were really cheap for the 128. And why did I do that? Well, look where the 50-day is, okay? And so if you look on the daily, and I know you guys prefer here on the chart, you can see that the 50-day is right here at 129. And so I bought some of the 128 puts right before he was about to talk. And you can take a guess about, if you traded today, what happened right after he spoke. We had this massive red candle. And guys, these are the moves that are just cash money. And I'm talking about, they could make your week, they could make your month. It was my biggest trade, and not probably the shortest trade in terms of profitability. It was definitely the biggest trade I've had in a while, meaning that I bought here for 25 cents the puts that are expiring Friday, and I sold them right under 40 cents. And so clearly, it was a 50% profit for a 25-minute hold. However, I should have held to a certain position. I should have sold half, or I should have sold a quarter, which I told you guys I'm constantly working on myself, because you can see that we had a bigger flush down to 128, and then we also had another flush here. And so did I leave a lot of money on the table? Yes, I did. How much money did I leave? This total trade, had I taken it at its best and top and bottom tick, which I obviously know that we can't do, it would have been 150% profit. And so from 25 cents, these things were going north of over 60 cents. You can check it on your level 2, and it was just a great trade. And so again, waiting for the Fed to talk, knowing what the market wants to do typically when that happens, even if it's great news or bad news. And so again, you can see that we accumulated here, sold them into strength, right? And so when you buy puts, what do? You're making money as the stock goes down. And so I was shorting essentially Aapl, low risk, and then of course it rebounded right after the news. And so a lot of people who freaked out, of course, sold out. They flipped out. Oh my God, the market's crashing. And really, guys, it was a 1-point move. And again, what was I looking for? Was a 50-day bounce right up here at 130. So trading with a plan, trading with sort of knowing what the market's going to do is always going to help you be ahead of everyone else. Okay, Tesla. Don't really pay too much attention to the stock as much as I used to. You can see that we finally been getting validation constantly off the 200-day, and it's just been really trading sideways the last 3 weeks around the $600. So it really hasn't been that exciting. But again, it's obviously on the bearish side, trading south of the 200-day. But you can see the stock has held up this sort of consolidation level of 550 upwards to essentially low sixes. And so we've been trading sideways for a while, and so if you're an options trader, you could obviously do, some type of, spread option trading where you can, buy and sell calls or, puts wherever you think it is. It is trading sideways, and so you'll make money whether or not the stock goes either direction. And so, that's just what we had, post split. If you guys recall, when we were up here at 530, we essentially just traded for, it was basically, it felt like a long time, but it was really like 3 months just sideways, and that's what we're getting now. And so it's good. We're seeing good consolidation, and we're consolidating on the upper level. And so again, I expect to see push still as price target to 1,000. But again, the volatility in Tesla, you can see it's literally the ATR here shows that it's $22 on the daily, but really it's been smaller than that lately. Like today it looked like it was $15, right, from 593 to 608. And so it really doesn't trade it with a huge range. And so like I said, I haven't really been paying too much attention to it, although I am still long Tesla. Palantir on the daily looks solid. I've been really excited about the fact that we've reclaimed a lot of the levels on the stock. Let me just change this real quick here. And so here on Palantir, we have, the straight from $17 all the way up to 25, and it's just been solid over the 50-day, over the 20-day. And so it's definitely on the bullish side. And now you can see we're sort of taking a breather here with a top at around 25. And so, I mentioned to you guys my short-term price target, which is this year, would be right here at this fill around 31.50. And, Palantir has been an interesting stock. Like I mentioned, the first real bullish leg on the stock, we got as high as almost $33. And so it's really interesting to me. Like I mentioned to you guys before, even anything under 30 was just an absolute steal. But since February, we've been just trading in a few dollar range, and it hasn't really moved the stock. One thing I do want to note, and I do want to point out, Palantir does trade over 1 billion shares. And so some of you guys are wondering, well, why doesn't the stock move a whole lot and it's trading sideways? It has 1 billion share float, which means that there's over 1 billion shares. That's twice as big as AMC, just to give you an idea of how many shares there are, right? That's 20 times as big as GameStop. And so when you have that many shares, it takes a lot of shares, a lot of volume to really move a stock. And you can see that we're not trading a whole lot of volume, right? If we're trading, essentially 45 to 50 million shares, we're not trading a whole lot of volume, okay, compared to some of these days here. And so that's been kind of the issue. But again, great rebound off of here. We have a profitable quarter. And so again, still expect the stock to get up there, but it's just been, same thing, kind of boring, just trading in a dollar range. Nothing that exciting. AI, I got to say, definitely the lockout period, ended, and that definitely had hurt the stock a lot. We kind of knew that going into it, like Palantir and any other stocks know, is stocks tend to tank when the lockout period is, because there's obviously more shares to be sold on the market, and that was no different with AI. I was just really disappointed because I thought we had such great movement from all the way here at 47 all the way up to 76. And I thought that we could at least maybe rebound off the 50, but now you can see we're trading below the 20 and the 50, and we're starting to go back down here to this consolidation. And so trading under 60, again, guys, originally I had mentioned that my short-term price target was around $82, and it looked like we were going to get that, and then it just tanked. And so same idea, guys, is this breakout here was a false breakout at 73. We had that day going into earnings, and then we just lost the momentum in the stock. And so it's just been trading sideways. Same idea, guys. If you do trade options, you can trade some type of spread here in the low 40s into essentially in the 70, and this thing could just potentially just trade sideways. But at least we know that we have a limit here around 47. So if I were to dip buy until I get confirmation, this is where I would dip buy, is a bounce off of this 47 to validate it as a level. But I wouldn't randomly add shares while we're back, essentially trending downward again. Okay. Spce, this has been a very tricky stock for me personally. I mentioned to you guys in my last video, there's a gap fill here at $42 back here, and that was kind of my price target coming into all this momentum. And I got involved here, and I've played both sides. As a day trader, you play both sides and you look for specific moves. And I really thought that we would see a fill here on this day, so I went long and ended up getting stopped out. As you can see, this thing ended up going down 30 points. And then you can see in the last 5 days, that's all we've been doing, is we've been in this chop zone. It kind of reminds me of Aapl back here, right, where we were at this 135 trying to see if this thing is going to go any bigger. And so the way I would play Spce, like today, for example, I was short biased going into the market. And so what I would do is, clearly there's support here, which we validated at $34. But if we can break this $34 level, then I can definitely see at least a test back to the 20-day at $30. And so that's what I would do necessarily if I was shorting, to really understand the direction. Okay, so if I'm breaking this level here around $34, like I said, I would look to take it back to the 20-day. And then clearly there's a top here at 38 bucks that it just can't seem to break, and we've had rejection constantly on that level. And so that's how I would play if I were creating a new position. If you're long, clearly you're probably way in the money, especially if you bought down here. And again, even if you're a bag holding and all this consolidation, when we had the drop from Richard Branson and all the guys who were selling us out, claiming that they're for the retail. Okay. And so again, most people are probably in the money on the stock. But like I said, if we can't break this 38, which it looks like we haven't been able to, we could potentially break this 34 level and head back down to 20 days, which is down here at the $30. Okay. And so that's my kind of target here. I'm thinking, just because this has just been hard to break, but you can imagine every day trying to get that, okay, today's going to be the day, today's going to be the day, and you end up just getting stopped out. Clover, I did mention to you guys, it took one of my biggest losses last week in my career. Basically got obviously squeezed out here in Clover. Definitely over traded because I had probably one of the biggest green days, and then I clearly turned that into a red day, and like I mentioned to you guys, I will talk about that in a future video. And so you can see it's coming right back. And so here, you know, $12 is where I would look at, like the first support where you had a high here, right under 12, you had this breakout. And so this is where I would be buying shares if I were to look for a long position, possibly for some type of rebound or retrace here to 16. But you can clearly see this thing in 5 days is essentially gone all the way up from 28 all the way back down to where it was. And so it was purely a short squeeze. Kind of knew that, but there's only so much heat you can handle when you're shorting stocks. And that's why, you know, I always stress with you guys, having a good risk management plan is always important, so that doesn't happen to you. Clearly, if you're going to risk, you know, 10, 11 points against you for a 1 point or half a point for you, it's not a good strategy. Okay, so you want to at least do a 1-for-1, if not something better. AMC is the same idea, guys. Is I actually it's been probably my biggest stock of the year. I think I mentioned that last video, and I've been really just shorting. I play longs too. There's definitely a lot of strategies you can do with the long trading. You can see that it's actually up post market, but it got down here and it rebounded off of this low here at $52. And so we had this major squeeze the last couple days, and now we're kind of coming back in. We made this top here. We broke this top at 61 yesterday on this new high, but clearly there was, you know, a lot of selling pressure, and you can see that we're back here. You can also see on the momentum that the momentum is clearly flattening out, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we get back here, back into the low 40s. Me personally, I would not want to bag hold the AMC, so I'm definitely more short biased. There was talk that 80% of the float, which is, you know, almost 600 million shares, is owned by retail. But guys, just because you own the float doesn't mean that the stock will actually necessarily move, right? If everyone just owns the stock and doesn't buy or sell, then you don't have any liquidity. And so the volume's been great. It's easy to get in and out of the stock. It is a little tricky, and that's why I don't focus so much on the minute moves on some of these stocks. Sometimes you just have to focus on the bigger picture items. But you can see here that, you know, there's definitely been, you know, good consolidation, but there's also been really good flushes that we've had, and we've had constant bounces, for example, on 52. But clearly we didn't, you know, obviously trade higher than where we were yesterday. And so, you know, I'm still short biased, and I'm going to keep that. And like I said, I would expect, you know, based on past is right here, you know, where you have some support here in the low 40s for a potential bounce. And of course you can see the 50, 200 day and 20-day are way down here at 30 in the high 30s. Okay, and so it's just purely a squeeze play, so just be careful and, you know, trade with caution. Wish I did on this day here, we had major volume. We had a lot of the momentum stocks gap up, and so one of the things I did is I actually bought some shares here at 1075, and the goal wasn't necessarily to back hold them, was to sell options. And so last week I sold calls expiring this week for $12.50 for $1. And people, you might ask, well, why would you do that? Selling a covered call, guys, is a way to earn income on shares you own. And so if you buy, for example, 100 shares of Wish, you can sell one covered call contract for, let's say, a week out, and someone was actually going to pay you. And the worst thing that's going to happen is, let's say the call, you know, is, let's say, $12.50, which is what I had sold. And let's say tomorrow, end of the day, Wish closes above $12.50. So not only do my shares go from $10.75 to $12.50, and I get that profit, but I also get the premium I own by selling the call contract for someone to buy that contract at $12.50. And so it's just a win-win. The way you'll lose, obviously, is if the stock doesn't close below $12.50, but let's say it closes below $10.75, but you still earn that premium. And so your true cost is really, if you're at $10.75 and you're getting $1, your true cost of Wish is actually 975. And so it's a great strategy. I always talk to you guys about back holding stocks. That's something, and with the momentum going on with Wish, that's a play that I've done. So I sold the call for Friday. It was 70% in the money today, so I decided to cover. And so one of the things that I may do is accumulate on any flushes and then resell either 1250 for tomorrow or 1250 for next week. Next month, and just keep accumulating some of that premium. Roblox had a great flush, and you guys can see clearly why having the 50-day on your chart is going to save you a lot of headache of trying to find the bottom. I was actually hoping that it would come even lower and get down here where we had some consolidation previously here at 77. Didn't quite get there, but you can see that there was just a lot of liquidity in the stock today. It was a great stock. As always, I wait for confirmation, and you can see that we were reclaiming some of those lows this morning in pre-market. And so what you wanted to do was wait for confirmation. Okay, and so waiting for confirmation is seeing this triple top here at 86 and then just sort of letting it fade. Okay, and so getting into early sort of at pre-market highs and things like that in this case didn't work. What you wanted to do was wait for this thing to start to fade, and then it gave you like about $3 to $4 of a move, which is awesome, right? So from 86 all the way down to 82. So it was a great stock to trade, and so I was definitely short bias. I've actually been short bias for quite a while on Roblox since this move here around over $100. And so just seeing this flush here, I knew yesterday that this was going to be a stock that I wanted to watch. And so again, guys, you know, tons of points here that you can get either direction, no matter how you play. So as always, guys, appreciate you. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please do smash that like button. As always, guys, I will see you guys the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.